Good morning, family. Namaste. And so good to see all of you. It's good to be here. I love you all. So, our August theme is I'm ready. And my talk title today is The Importance of Being Earnest. So, no, this is not a message about the play by Oscar Wilde that became a movie about two men who were trying to escape their real life, so they changed their name to Ernest and then tried to find women who love men named Ernest, which sounds very crazy. But that's not what this is about. This is sort of part two of my talk from earlier in this month. I could have titled it Unapologetically New Thought 2 or The Gospel of New Thought According to Ernest Holmes, but I just went with The Importance of Being Earnest. And I am convinced more than ever that this world is in an upheaval of transition and transmutation and transformation. And the reason I say that is people have more information than ever, and yet they're still confused about spirituality. They're still confused about God. They have facts. If you watch TikTok, people are saying a bunch of theological stuff. I think John or anybody who graduated from seminary, like, you're right, but you need to look at the bigger context. But there's a deconstruction happening of religion, of Christianity, of fear-based theology. And people are hungry for a real touch, an authentic aspect of God. And I feel that as new thought, of course it's new thought, ancient wisdom, that this concept of that we have a philosophy of a oneness, of laws that govern this universe, and that if you use those laws, work to our great advantage, is something that the world is hungry for, and that we can be the midwives as this world is transforming and transmuting and transitioning, that we can be the midwives to a miraculous new birth. And the tools that we'll use today, or the tools that I'm offering as midwives, are the tools that are a part of our new thought legacy, our lexicon, or dictionary. And let's ask Ernest, what are we looking for? The importance of being earnest. So the foundation, of course, is that the divinity that most people are looking for outside of themselves is within us and available to us to use and embody. I love this quote by Ernest Holmes. I've used it in several messages, but the truth of it is the truth. The great spiritual geniuses, whether Moses, Buddha, Plato, Socrates, Master Teacher Jesus, or Emerson, have taught us to look within ourselves to find God. That again, that is the difference between a God outside, a theology that's outside, but that the divine that we are looking for is within us, as close as our breath, as close as our hands and our feet. To realize that God is ever present and available is to know the wisdom and intelligence and the power of the universe right where we are in this space, where you're sitting right now, or if you're still in bed sleeping while you're watching this message, where you are, who you are, as you are within you is God, the divine energy. And knowing that then gives us the capacity to live, move, and have our being in a way that can bring birth and give life to a world that is hungry for an authentic connection and understanding with that very divine energy. And so the invitation of being, to me, of being unapologetically new thought is to live that way consistently and consciously on a daily basis. And the way that we do that, or I am presenting the way that we do that, is through right thought, right action, and right self-expression. And that is divine thought, divine action, and divine self-expression, for the divine is you, is me, is we, and we are one. So our initial right thought is understanding the power of our thoughts. Few people realize that the law of thought is the great reality, that thoughts produce things. When we come to understand this power of thought, we will carefully watch our thinking to see that no thought enters that we do not want made into a thing. Let us fill the atmosphere of our homes and our places of business with streams of positive light. Now, this isn't happy thoughts, right? But it's positive thoughts that even in the worst circumstances, doctors throwing the C word at you, or, hospice at you, right? The thought is. I honor your medical training and your understanding, and thank you for your diagnosis, and I will move along the path of that diagnosis, but my thoughts know that divine, excellent health is mine right now, and that's my prognosis. And so I operate from that prognosis, and I conjoin them with your diagnosis. But life is mine in any and every circumstance. And so when it says that thoughts are things, we're thinking of like this great shirt that my wife gave me for my birthday, or the cars, or a house, or money. But if you have toxic thoughts, if I have toxic thoughts, then that toxicity becomes a thing in relationships, in how we deal with our money. And I'm not worthy, and I'm not worthy of love. So that becomes a thing in how people interact with you, how you interact with yourself. And so it's not just stuff, but it's the culmination, the inviting of that energy. Our thoughts are so important, and it's time for us as people of the divine energy, of an understanding that God is everywhere. There's no spot where God is not. So where you are, where I am, where we are, is God. And then to understand that as God, that's as God said, let there be, right? In the Christian narrative as well as in the Enuma Elish. When Marduk starts creating, it's by speaking that what comes out of our mouth began as a thought in here. And so the thinking, so if our mouths are saying negative and toxic stuff, it's just the thoughts coming out. And that negative and toxic stuff will become things. But we want to do, as Ernest Holmes said, let us fill the atmosphere of our homes and our business and our hearts with streams of positive thoughts. So right thought, right action. Nike and Yoda both said it best. Nike says, just do it. Yoda says, do not try, do. Ernest Holmes says, stop trying, stop struggling. Begin to be calm, to trust in the higher laws of life. Even though you do not see them, they are there. How many of us that had the chance to bring life into this world through our bodies, when we first got that word, didn't feel anything, nothing seemed different, but bit by bit things change. When you plant something outside or in your house, the next day it's not sprouting, it's still there. The work is still there. And so the wise way, the God action, is to act knowing that everything is working for our good. To act knowing that that is for my highest good, that this is for my abundance, that this is for my prosperity, that this is for my health. To act from that place, even if the circumstances or the world consciousness or mass consciousness is in agreement with that. We are in the world, but not of it. Our world is a world of connection with the divine. Thoughts filled with positivity of knowing goodness and light is within us, and we act on that. Not, let me try to be kind, let me try to have positive thoughts, let me try to believe. No, I am a radiant light of God. I am God in expression. I know it, and so when I walk into any circumstance, that is what's with me. Or I love this verse. It says, we should believe, act in love, that God is the invisible partner in our lives, and affirm that divine love goes before us and prepares the way. So when we act in love, say, well, they weren't loving towards me. When we act in love, the right action is on us. Right action is on us in our families, in our communications, on the phone with people, in the store with people, in our own thoughts. Act in love, knowing that love, so powerful. And God in action is love. Remember to act in this way. God isn't out there. God isn't in John alone, or whoever's in ministry you watch on TV, or Ernest Holmes, he was connected with the Lord, but I'm just some regular. No, God is in all of us, and we are God in action. All the power of the universe is with you and is with me. Feel it, know it, and then act as though it were true. Right action is being bold enough to say, I'm all that in a bag of chips because when I look at the Grand Canyon, when I look at the sun, when I look at the moon, when I look at flowers, when I laugh and when I feel good, all of that is God and all of that is me. So I bring all of that to any and every situation where I go, where you go, where we go. Right self-expression. To understand that as we stand on that firm foundation, that God is in, as, and through us, and there's no spot where God is not, and we're going to get our thoughts right, a positive stream of thoughts filled with the truth and the knowledge and the consciousness of our oneness with God, and then we then act on that. We then express ourselves in this truth, that we are limitless. All limitations, says Ernest Holmes, are self-imposed. We are limitless. We are abundant. We must be convinced that abundance is the natural state of the universe. To experience and accept abundance in our life, we must be convinced that as we conceive and believe, the universe handles the details. Look at Master Teacher Jesus said it best. The lilies in the field and the flowers and the birds and the bees, they're not worrying about stuff because they know that it is the givingness of the universe. It's sown into everything. It's us that needs to remember that we are limitless, that we are abundant, and that the universe handles the details. And that again, to express our gratitude in everything, give thanks. For this is how God acts with that divine eye, even the worst circumstance. What's going to separate us from people who are not connected with this philosophy, are not looking to grow and evolve spiritually, and those of us who are? Who's sweaty? That we can give thanks in any and every circumstance. Gratitude is one of the chief graces of human existence and is crowned in heaven with the consciousness of unity. Be grateful. Be grateful. And lastly, to remember that we are spiritual beings. Each one of us is an outlet to God and an inlet to God. And that spirituality, one of the things that used to bother me as a minister is when someone, I haven't seen them in church a long time. My son and I are going to court the next day. Really? You won't come to church the day before you go to court, but you won't show up? That spirituality isn't something we can give or take. If you and I are inlets and outlets of God, that means whether we are aware of it or not, how we act, how we talk, who we be, and how we is, we are expressing and allowing either a little bit of God or a lot of God in. And then we're either giving out a little bit of God or giving out a lot of God. Spirituality is the essence of our lives, of who we are. And when we stand on that firm foundation that God is in, as, and through us, and that we're going to act, we're going to have right thought, right action, and right self-expression, we then know that the spiritual aspect of ourselves is the truth of who we are. And just as we feed this beautiful physical body and feed our minds, that we will prioritize feeding our spirit and then taking that message through our lives into the world. Ernest Holmes says it's best. We can do no more without spirituality than we can do without food, shelter, and clothing. It is good to be earnest, and it's good to be in that mindset of what he has laid down in the foundations of our new thought, philosophy, and way of being. The presence of God is you and I. And when we connect to that and fill our thoughts with that truth, it will come out through our actions, and the way we express ourselves and our spirituality becomes the truth of who we are. And we then become the midwives of change, transmutation, and transformation in this world that is hungry for the love and light of the divine. Have a beautiful and blessed day.